From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. An accident on Interstate 90 over the weekend takes the lives of two local tow truck drivers. A devastating blow to the victims' families, friends, and loved ones, and also a local employer's worst nightmare when its crew members go out to serve the community. 28-year-old Cassie Allen of Reed Point and 37-year-old Nick Visser of Billings died yesterday evening while trying to recover a disabled vehicle from the highway. Authorities say the men were in the passing lane on I-90 East, just east of Columbus at the time. A semi-truck slowed down to avoid the men, but an 18-year-old Utah man driving a pickup didn't notice the semi had hit the brakes. To avoid hitting the semi, the driver pulled into the passing lane, striking and killing the two tow truck operators. Well, a difficult time for all involved. Tonight, Q2's Mitch Legge brings us reaction from the owners of Hendricks Automotive, a message of sorrow and safety.
Ownership at Hendricks Automotive in Billings was truly saddened to hear about the deaths of two of their tow truck drivers over the weekend on Interstate 90 outside of Columbus. On Monday, the owners told me that they hope these tragic deaths result in a conversation about highway safety. Nick Visser, a 37-year-old husband and father, leaves behind a wife and 5 kids. He was a man who loved motorcycles, beards, and his wife's good cooking. He may have looked tough, but co-workers said his soul was gentle and kind. And 28-year-old Casey Allen of Reed Point was described as a sweet, soft-spoken man who loved the great outdoors and deserved 60 more years of fishing, bow hunting, and shooting. In the wake of the loss of these two men, ownership at Hendricks is asking the community to stay vigilant while driving, slow down for the conditions, and move over for emergency vehicles.
Through this thing, it just reminds us of how we were sitting here reminding ourselves how many times that we almost got hit, and there's literally thousands and thousands of times. So, I mean, we're just asking people when they see warning signs, when they see bad weather conditions, slow down. There's people out there trying to get people out of the ditch. And
it's for the police officers, the fire trucks. I mean, there are patrolmen that have driven their cars into the ditch to avoid being hit. But it's all the responders out there. Be aware of what's going on when you go out on these things.
2 GoFundMe accounts have been set up to assist the families with funeral costs. They had collectively raised about $27,000 by 8 p.m. Monday. To find links to both fundraisers, visit this story at ktvq.com. In Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
It was a very busy and scary weekend on all of Montana roadways for all first responders. This weekend alone, Montana Highway Patrol responded to more than 1,500 calls for service and 732 crashes. So far this year, there have been more than 160 deaths on Montana roadways, which is more than at this point in 2019 and 2018. We now know the name of a woman gunned down in what authorities are calling an ambush-style murder on the Crow Reservation this weekend. 26-year-old Lanita Goes-Ahead from Pryor was killed Saturday in the Blue Creek area near the reservation line. Now, she is the daughter of Crow Vice Chairman Carlson Duke Goes-Ahead. Officials are not going into specifics on how she died, but a federal arrest warrant has now been issued for 27-year-old Taylor Plainbull. Plainbull is 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. The FBI says Plainbull is considered armed and dangerous. Authorities say he often spends time at the Lazy KT Motel here in Billings. Tonight, the Billings City Council is expected to approve an agreement with the Lockwood Water and Sewer District to clean up additional wastewater through the city's treatment plant. The city already processes wastewater from Lockwood, but tonight's decision would add about 1,000 acres of additional service area between the Yellowstone River and Interstate 90 north of Lockwood. That area is known as the Lockwood Targeted Economic Development District, has the potential for high industrial development with the access to the railroad. City leaders said the agreement would cooperate between the City of Billings and Yellowstone County Commissioners on development of city-county borderlands. The city already brings in about $150,000 a year in wastewater fees from the Lockwood Water and Sewer District. If that agreement is approved, the city is estimated to bring in an additional $18,000 per year. Well, 9 more COVID-19 related deaths to report across the state of Montana tonight. The latest 2 in Glacier County, bringing the death total there to 15. MTN now reports 324 COVID related deaths across the state. Yellowstone County again had the highest number of new cases today with 186. Nearly 29,000 Montanans have tested positive since the pandemic began in mid-March. Nearly 20,000 have recovered, and there are just more than 9,000 active cases right now. In Wyoming tonight, the state health department confirms 9 new COVID-19 related deaths. 5 of those residents of a Bighorn County long-term care facility. Laramie, Platte, Albany, and Lincoln counties each reported a death. Wyoming has now seen more than 9,700 total confirmed cases and 77 deaths. Governor Steve Bullock activated members of the National Guard, a Montana National Guard, to assist with an outbreak of COVID-19 at the state prison. The men's prison in Deer Lodge saw its first confirmed case this month. Since then, 61 staff and 166 prisoners have tested positive. 67 volunteer soldiers from 2 battalions and military police arrived in Helena yesterday for training. They'll assume duties starting tomorrow. Those include mail distribution, laundry, inmate counts, and delivering meals. They will not be armed and will have limited contact with inmates. As of Friday, the Department of Corrections reported 589 confirmed cases among inmates and 95 among staff at DOC and contracted facilities across the state. All right, turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. And Bob, the snow has stopped, but those freezing temperatures are still here. We've been breaking all sorts of records.
Oh, we wound up with about 3 to 9 inches of snow in the Billings area over the weekend, and now these were our reported record low temperatures if you were looking at them Sunday night and talking about Monday. These were what the numbers would have said. Now, let me show you what our reported overnight low temperatures were across the region. You notice only Cutbank was below zero of the old records. Now, take a look at the new records. Yeah, only Cutbank and Great Falls were the only ones in the area that didn't break a record. They did not break the record. Look at over at Bozeman, 20 below zero this morning, 18 below zero at Butte, 9 below at Dillon, 10 below at Sheridan. These are all new record lows, including Billings. We went to 8 above, but our old record was 22. So, yeah, we broke that record, and we broke it by a lot. Here's the good news, though. 39 degrees tomorrow, working our way through the 40s the rest of the week, and by Sunday and Monday, we're getting into the 50s, and that should feel a lot better. We'll have more about that in a few more minutes.
At least we're headed in the right direction. Thanks, Bob. In a 52-48 vote, the GOP-controlled Senate has voted to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. That move fills the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat and creates a 6-3 conservative majority on the High Court. Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill.
The nomination of Amy Coney Barrett of Indiana to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is confirmed.
After more than 30 hours of debate, Senate lawmakers voted along party lines to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court.
Voting to confirm this nominee should make every single senator proud.
The American people, their lives and rights and freedoms, will suffer the consequences of this nomination for a generation.
President Trump tapped Barrett to replace the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg following her death just 38 days ago.
We should not be voting on this lifetime appointment while the American people themselves are in the middle of voting.
So help you God.
New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was among Democrats who pulled an all-nighter to protest the final vote, warning the future of the Affordable Care Act is on the line.
Repealing the law in the midst of a global pandemic would result in even more chaos and devastation.
Vice President Mike Pence was set to preside over the Senate for the final vote, but Democrats urged him to reconsider given the latest coronavirus outbreak at the White House.
The GOP majority in the Senate assured a speedy confirmation of Barrett before next week's election.
She's going onto the court because that's where she deserves to be.
The rules of the Senate Judiciary Committee are being twisted and turned to create a political opportunity.
The 48-year-old is expected to be seated in time to hear some key cases, including one involving LGBTQ rights on November 4th and another challenging the Affordable Care Act on November 10th. She'll also be on the bench to preside over any cases that might arise from the presidential election. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Well, the president swore Barrett in during an event at the White House. Following her confirmation, Justice Clarence Thomas administered the official constitutional oath. Montana's 2 senators weighing in with their reaction on Barrett's confirmation to the U.S. Supreme Court. Republican Senator Steve Daines said he proudly voted to confirm Justice Barrett, saying she is an inspiration to professional women, working moms, and school-aged girls across Montana who can feel certain there is no American dream that women can't achieve. Democratic Senator John Tester voted against the nomination, voiced his displeasure that the process even moved forward, saying Montanans are already voting in this election, and I believe it's deeply irresponsible to ram a partisan nomination through in the final days before polls close, a precedent my Republican colleagues established 4 years ago and are now breaking. Still ahead on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, the campaign trail's heating up and allegations are flying in Montana's race for the U.S. Senate. We'll take a closer look next. And in sports, the pairings are out. We'll let you know the playoff schedule and where the local high school football teams are headed for the playoffs.